the phrase that irks me the most. I want to learn how to be a firefighter first. Then I'll worry about studying. And that is so anti what we have to do that, and I said it to myself for 11 years. So that's why it irks me even more, because now I have to call myself, I don't even want to call myself anything other than jaded. But if I can help somebody else by saying the stuff that I need to say, which is you have to be a lifelong student as soon as you get on this job. If this is the job you want to do, then if you don't, then get off. We're going to iPrep Pro because that's where it all starts.
Okay.
I'm putting it all there in order. I'm going to try to make it so that you could click through and learn everything that me and you have been talking about. A lot simpler. But the key is we have to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, learn the explanations of what everything is, all the new stuff coming, then you're not the candidate they're looking for. They're looking for somebody in the books, just like I said. So a way that they ensure that you're keeping up with the process is they change that link around. The link that I have all the assets that you need, I call it promotional links. Let's go to the website.
I got it pulled up as well.
Go there too, because it's the jargon that they're using in the new NFPA sections of 1550.
That was the what you were texting me about, the adaptive response.
Right. It's no longer rolling size up. That's the old, out with the old and with the new. And
do you think, is that why they took down the study guide? Because they're updating a bunch of the terminology?
Updating the technology, they have to keep up with the 1550 was identified in March of 2024 as being the new release. So what they say, I keep threatening to bring up the website and not bring it up. So if you come to the website, try to put it in an order that we need to build a program to keep everybody safe on the fire ground. Fact-finding links right here, after I explain to you how we're going to do our short-term action plan, is we have to have the facts. So that's why I named it fact-finding links. And here it says the year listed for the orientation guides refers to the year the exam will be taking place. And if we stay in the standards like I am now, I ordered the links and I'm going through everything that's new, and Edward and I are going to make little information packets that will explain to us what everything is. So in the process, he ran the AI through the stuff that I've been reading in, through the new books and the research that I've been doing. And as he's reading in some of the stuff last week, that's when we came in with the new jargon for rolling size up. Now, if you look at the old rolling size up template, everything else is the same. You know, remember I kept telling you, I don't know what they did with rolling size up, why they don't call it rolling size up. I was typing in rolling size up and nothing comes up. But then when Eddie started reading in, I've been saying rolling
adaptive response.
Yes, I've been saying rolling size up so often that adaptive response is getting stuck in my head, and I'm having trouble right now spitting it out on demand. But it's rolling size up.
Rolling size up sounds better.
I know it does, but think of the adjectives. Rolling size up it means the same thing, except they're changing the words to match what's in the new 1550, where it's explaining everything. And that's where we're coming up with the new jargon that we have to learn. So, but the good news is it's still rolling size up. It's just, that's the phrase we have to use to identify how we're going to keep our members safe on the fire ground.
Was that chief in the video you sent me, by the way? Was that a North guy?
That's Riker. That's my guy.
He was a battalion chief?
Yeah, when I met him, he was a 11 truck. Worked with him. I finally got up on the hill. I was working down that for 2 years, and I got my spot at 11 engine, and he was working on 11 truck with
Okay.
a good friend of mine, Ferdinando Tenore. Kept in contact with Riker, and he started moving up the ladder. He made captain, and he went over to engine 28, where I used to go and pick his brain. I used to go there before I was in the, he gave me a little stuff before 9/11, but after 9/11, he was really into starting a business called Firefighter University. And he was a captain training to be chief. And I got involved with his study group. I went to his study group. I went to PASS. I went to my buddy, Colin Archer, who was a instructor for the moving up the ladder course. And then the last thing I did was the moving up the ladder course twice, which taught me how important the study guide is. Now, the study guide, forever changing, doesn't mean that everything in that study guide is going to change. But the things that are going to change, since we have the old one, and that's what we're using as our map, when we get the new one, when they eventually release it, we're going to see whatever is brand spanking new in it. That's where we start. That's going to be what we're looking for. In the meantime, we could still use the old one to train and prepare, because that's what we've been doing. And since I've been critiquing every single study guide that's come out, since I understood that the study guide was our Bible to take fire exams. So what this is teaching us is, when we're going over rolling size up and we're saying, well, I don't know when to bring this information in. I don't know when to. I broke it down into 4-step. Adaptive response is telling you they want you to be able to organize it like that, but they want you to be able to address each situation as you need to address it. You're not going to put the fire out before you address saving the victim hanging out the window. Now, how are you going to go about doing it? You got to go about doing it in order in your head, and not miss the points, but doing it chronologically. So it's about chronologically responding. So that's what we're working on. Edward and I came upon a system now that's working, where I'm reading the stuff, I'm writing notes and kind of writing a written hand report. Then I'm reading the information that I dissected out of the books to him. He's writing it down, running it through the AI, and it's spitting the answers back at us according to the books that we're reading. And in the process now, the video I sent you, I edited for hours and hours getting it ready. So putting the people in the right place. I remember I told you that when you read it in and then you do it yourself and you edit it and you cut out the mistakes and all that stuff, it made it stick even better. Doing it with video, it's on steroids. Now you really want to get it perfect. So we're going to put this website in order. It's going to click right through. If we go to, we're going to use the cultural chain, the 16 points firefighter initiative, to structure how we are going to respond. But the answer for the chief's test also is in the captain's test, because remember, we're studying to be the incident commander. So we're still, the most important thing, becoming a student of the incident command system. And that's basically what this tells us. And it's all right here. These are the words we have to use. Or acronym. Quickly, we can write these acronyms down and understand what they are. I came up with a bullet and a blurb. We've got a bullet and then a blurb. We have to bullet and blurb everything that we know. And we don't know, we got to be able to No. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm just going to keep making this our answer. What'd you do yesterday? Did you talk to anybody about studying?
I did. So the question that we initially went over the last time we talked, the 16 Sullivan, it didn't really go over like it more turned into a conversation than anything else, and we just kind of talked about the test and stuff.
That's what it's supposed to be. Listen, we're a student of the test, and that's the key. And that's what these guys at each test, as they see the results of each test, they try to tweak it so that they can get the best candidates. Because no matter what testing you give, people slip through the cracks. And they're the guys that come in the 40s, 50s. On my list, they went all the way down to 100. The guys that found the information when I was looking for it, it was costing them, I think, $2,000 a piece. I was like, fuck that, I ain't paying $2,000, you know? And I talked myself out of it. And I refused to let Eddie talk himself out of it or kick the can down the road. The phrase that irks me the most and was said to Eddie the other day was, I want to learn how to be a firefighter first. Then I'll worry about studying. And that is so anti what we have to do that, and I said it to myself for 11 years. So that's why it irks me even more, because it's not like, because now I have to call myself, I don't even want to call myself anything other than jaded. But if I can help somebody else by saying the stuff that I need to say, which is you have to be a lifelong student as soon as you get on this job. If this is the job you want to do, then if you don't, then get off.
Yeah, I think regardless of whether you want to get promoted or not, knowing the material is only going to help you, keep you safe.
And what I'm here to do is just teach you the process of finding the information, the right information, because when you open up 6 books, 2 study guides, and a whole bunch of addendums, it gets a little overwhelming. But if you can whittle it down to, hey, let me learn the incident management system first, the way it needs to be taught and explained, because that's what they're asking you to do. They're asking you to tell them that you understand the process. And the only way to understand the process is to just read what they're telling you. And the chief's question is, it's the old retired chief. He's going out the door next week. You're taking over for him. He was known to not really like to train that much. And his battalion is lagging. How are you going to get him up to speed? And that is the mentorship program. That is the new way that I'm going to do it. Now I'm going through my old answers, seeing what the new chapter headings are, explaining in my old answers, seeing what chapter headings explain that part of my answer. And I just have to change the chapter headings because they didn't stop planning. Planning is still a part of the process, but now it's not a 5-step process that I have. I had to have a whole new way to organize it and explain it. And they want to know that I know those words. I know that jargon. That's why they do it that way, because you're going to have to eventually say one of those things. And the way you understand it, the way that you explain it, and the way you synchronize it so that they can understand it, that's all key. And that's not going to come with 2 weeks of study and 3 months of bullets or whatever that is. It's just not. And that's a conversation I have with my chief friend, because he's still stuck in the old mentality too. I see myself in my brain fighting him on some of the things that he's saying when he's saying, come on, John, everybody knows that. I'm listening.
I could tell.
So I go, yeah. But in my brain, I'm going, but I was that guy that didn't know how to put the words to it. So no matter how many times I did it, I did it 1,000 times, but I didn't start putting the words to it until 1,001. So I felt like that whole first 11 years of my career was useless. Although I did have a lot of, but now the new way that they're explaining that is they don't want a guy that's totally in the books, just like they don't want a guy not in the books at all, but is the best firefighter that you've ever seen. Because we all know a lot of those guys, even though they never opened up a book. They were never taught this part of the importance of it, because when they came into play, that wasn't the job then. That didn't start until the beginning of the 90s, and then being taught by the guy that wouldn't open a book, the World War II veteran. There's a lot of stuff that they just depended on drilling, and we'll get you there with your me- mechanics and the stuff that we teach you here. We don't care if you know the incident management system, because we don't run by an incident management system. But to be able to plug in across the whole country now and the way things are, you have to know all this stuff, especially a guy that doesn't go to any fires or limited fires. How are you going to learn this stuff? So didactic training and that explanation of a little bit of both is in the words that I'm just starting to learn now. And Edward and I are making videos about it. So you're going to see a little bit about that. What we're going to do is we're going to talk long about some of this stuff. And then eventually when I go back into the editor, I can cut it down into little TikToks, so that it's not long and drawn out and like, oh shit, you start dripping. You can just go in and click that one idea. When that one idea is over, then you can click on the next idea. And within this website, we're just going to start making these headings, clickable links. And we're going to start filming them with you making videos too, packets of information for ourselves and for others. Things you're going to tell us what the operational plan involvement model is, stuff like that, just so that we can have a definition, make sure it sticks. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. I was excited to show it to you. And I'm glad that you clicked on it, but now it's there forever.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a good conversation. I think I did understand what he was saying about shit that maybe they didn't specify they want to hear in the study guide. Like, I think he pointed out velocity and density of smoke or something like that when he was giving a size up. Where, because I was talking to Bizak about the same thing, where I had like a very structured list of things that I was definitely going to say. And he's like, yeah, like all that stuff's great, but maybe throw in just another random fact they're not asking for to make yourself look like you're giving them extra.
Well, it's not a random fact if you know that it goes there.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is you bullet blurb, but if you could think of something that fits synchronized in the way that they want to hear it, not like you're jumping around and just trying to hit bullets. That's what they explain to you in the study guide. If you go back and read it of what they're looking for, it might take you a couple times to say, oh, yeah, that's what that means. So that's why I say, hey, go through it, because as you learn new information, maybe something else will stick out about what they're looking for.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That now, as I'm reading the books and dissecting them and sticking them back in and finding out what's changing, being a part of the NFPA link site, $11, $12 a month, that's the best $12 I ever spent. The $15.50, it has everything in it. Then in the annex, there's annex part of it where they explain different things. There's so much in there that we can go over. I'm going to dissect it. Eddie and I are going to get together tonight, because while I'm watching it and I'm listening to him not understand some of the stuff that I'm saying, and I thinking about the stuff that I want to say to him, I had now edited that episode. Now I have a bunch of notes where I can explain to him the things that stand out on why it's this way now. I was getting it back then when I was going through it. I remember it. It was like the mid 2000s. All the deputies got cell phones from the department. So, and I was trying to teach with technology back then, and nobody had technology. But I was buying them their first iPods. Yeah. I have 5 in my pocket. Here, you want one? And then just in 2 years, 3 years, the next test cycle, everybody had their own iPods. So now I was figuring out how I'm going to, now they have an iPod. I don't have to go spend the $250 to get them started. All I have to do is buy a $20 thumb drive, and then, but the thing is, what made the iPod so good was I was studying every day like I am now. So when I was studying every day and adding new information, if you had the iPod plugged into my computer only. So, and a couple guys plugged their iPods into a different computer. They had to come back to me to replug it into my computer, because they wiped all the information that I gave them away, because it's only exclusive at the time to the computer you plugged it into. So I had 60 iPods out there with my iTunes on it. you know. So now I have the same thing with this website. I'm working on this stuff so much. I got so much information from the past that I got to figure out how to update it to the future, which is now, and breaking it down in real time with Eddie. He's getting it. We're going to make him come out number one. Bizak could be number two if he takes the test, because that's the goal with me, is just share the information because you want to be safe with everybody, and then make it a competition. Okay, now come beat me. You want the information? Here, I'll share it with you. Let's go talk over there for a little while. We're not studying to keep that guy down. We're studying to raise the bar so everybody studies. That's the game. I'm pushing almost 100 guys to get promoted since then, but I got out of the game for a little while. So my new game is Eddie got to come out number one. And everybody that I talk to has to believe that studying is a part of the program. And I'll help you study. I'll help you get with information you need. And then when you come out number one, I get to give you a little pat on the back and I say, hey, yeah, I picked it. So, all right, that's where we're at. So I'm going to make some more stuff tonight with Eddie, explaining the stuff that we're doing. All this new stuff that I'm putting in, the proactive futuring and explaining what's going to keep us safe. What's keeping us safe is the operational involvement model, building trust, proper jargon, being proactive in our learning, training in context for our short-term goals, using the 1410 standards, NFPAs, pre-fire plans, post-incident evaluations, target hazard reports, and empowering firefighters to stop unsafe practices. That's going to be the base of how we're keeping our firefighters safe when we're establishing command. Right? Using mentors, the NFPA 1550 and role models, we're going to create successful safety programs, and that's how we stay safe through adaptive response. Now, the bullets, how we're going to say them, and what order, what sequence we're going to put them in. The sequencing is still up to you, depending on how you feel comfortable delivering the information. Right? So we're going to the information on how we're going to stay safe on our adaptive response. It's explaining the adaptive response, explains in there that it's a training program for didactic and hands-on. It's a combination of both. So that's all part of the definition of adaptive response that we're going to learn, that we can explain adaptive response for like 2 minutes, even though we're only going to get probably about 15 to 20 seconds to deliver it in a organized way so that they know that they all tie together in this little narrative that we're going to put together. So, and it's all going to be on the website so that when you wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, you say, what did Wilson work on today? You can go through it and you can click on something and it'll be there. You don't have to wait until 10 a.m.
Yeah, this makes it a lot easier to navigate all this shit. And I had so many things like saved in my emails that you sent me, and I'm like, even just to find the Riverside, sometimes I got to scroll for like 10 minutes. But
so that's why when I was writing the notes, I put down the exact subject headings, and he tells it where it came from, and he says this question, according, act like an expert, and then he'll say the expert is the writer of the book, and then it'll spit out the answer. And then
whenever you get a chance, let me know.
All right, I'll discuss it with him in tonight's episode, and then I'll release it in the episode.
All right, sounds good.
Just go over the stuff that I've made already, because it's actually in there, the stuff that you're gonna know anyway. To re-go over it, I'm just gonna be making new stuff, going into old stuff, editing out the stuff that doesn't fit no more, but the stuff that still fits, I could leave in there. So now it's just going to be a matter of me wanting to go in and watch all the old stuff that we made, because I'm becoming a better editor. And once I become a better editor, it's going to make it easier to produce these other things that they're talking about, mentor modules. We'll get into that too. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's go figure out what else they want to teach us that nobody else wants to open up these study guides. So for me, it's create it, look at it, edit it, make somebody else look at it, and then edit it one more time, and then it's sticking. It's easy to understand. I think we're hitting a sweet spot because he's starting to listen to me instead of fighting everything that I'm telling him. He has a tendency to want to be smarter than I am, and I'm not saying that he's not. He's a lot more organized and be able to go a lot further than I did. That's my job, is to get him past where I went. I wanted to be the chief of the department, or if he doesn't make it, I want him to at least want to have the information that the chief of the department would need to, because I know that that's going to keep him safe, and
Yeah.
that's got to be the game. And the game that these guys are playing with the rigs and the firehouses and all that stuff, it goes against everything that I'm putting in the program development question. So I'm going to make them know that I know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
We have to be responsible for our own actions too. I'm not pissed off at anybody else other than myself that I didn't open a book really until after 9/11. That's not nobody else but me. So we have to be accountable. We have to hold them accountable for our safety, but we have to hold ourselves accountable for safety, right? So the strategic plan, according to the stuff that I am studying right now, is about collective accountability. Everybody's accountable. But for everybody to be accountable, you have to empower me to say, hey, with this rig you put me on, how come the firehouse is getting me sick? I got cancer. You can't just pretend it's not happening. So, and until you have that, you're not going to be able to build trust. So that's why I came up with these right here. I didn't come up with them. They're in there. Now it's up to me to put them in an order I feel comfortable telling them, because if I can say all of this stuff right here, then I know it. Then I know. So that's where we're starting. All right, let me stop this. Don't go anywhere.
That's life.
That's life.
That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top in June. I said that's life.